All rise. The king is speaking. Okay, you all may be seated. Hi, welcome to our first episode of A Message from the King, straight from the King's desk. My name is Darius, the King, and I'll be your host. I know we've all seen these lights flashing and these lights going from red, yellow, blue, purple. But is it truly concerning the wake up? That's a great question. So let's dive into it. When it comes to a Kundalini awakening or awakening, as some may believe it to be, it's called being woke. A lot of people confuse being woke with being conscious, as you can know information, you can talk about Black Wall Street or the riots, the projects, what have you. But that doesn't make you woke. It makes you conscious. Being woke means to have a quote-unquote Kundalini awakening, which means that you have the serpentine energy that rises up your spinal column, and it opens up your mind to the universe. Now, as I've spoken on my podcast about, I don't recommend this on my worst enemy. Why? Because you begin to hear voices, you begin to see things, and then they start to call you a schizophrenic, bipolar, all kind of names. Honestly, some people have went utterly and completely insane over it. Oh, I'm talking to myself. Well, as long as you don't answer yourself. I hear you, but I'm not listening. As hearing and listening are two different things. Hearing is being able to make sense or being able to sense the vibrations hitting our eardrums. Whereas listening, as some like to think it to be, means actually doing what you're hearing. No. Listening actually means you're able to understand the vibrations. You're able to understand the sounds that you're making sense of. That's how you listen. So just know, when you say I hear you, it irritates me. I don't want you to hear. I want you to hear and listen. There's a difference. Moving forward. Some will ask you, well, Darius have all these colors going on. Darius is doing this. Darius is doing that. But how many of us have actually asked Darius, the king, what are you doing? What does this mean? Where does this come from? As our people don't perish for a lack of knowledge. They perish for a lack of understanding. So some would say, oh, well, I hear you listening to people music. I mean, you listen to the Ed Sheerans and all of them or whatnot. But all of a sudden, we got you listening to jazz. You don't have me listening to anything. Everything that God do for a design purpose. And it's for us to understand that purpose that we become our authentic, and as some would say, unapologetic selves. Now, Jazz was born in Louisiana, just as I was. So I kind of wanted to transition us into a different sound, a different color. Not just blue or red and fighting wars over colors, or color banking, as they say. I want us to understand what it meant and what it means to me that we wake up. In a world that is filled with hate, if you can be it, be love. And that will be enough. Now, I can hear Contrail speaking the truth. Not just NBA Youngboy, but also Mayor Contrail. As NBA Youngboy was talking about demon love, demon time, rituals. He just want to be protected, loved, understood. And some would even say to hell with it, whether or not they understand us or not. But I beg to differ. When I was in New Orleans, I saw a group of people of European descent. They literally marched down the roads, signs in hand, calling the mayor, a clown. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm all for freedom of speech and freedom of individuality and expression, all of that. But even according to the First Amendment, that right stops when it begins to impede on another's right. They were bullying her. Literally. Now, they may tell you a different story. Oh, Darius, I wasn't bullying anybody. I was just trying to say this, trying to say that. It's called hate speech. Why can't we speak through love? Even see through love. I want to say Tank sung a song, had a song about that. Maybe he still do. Now, it's worth it to note that I did see Bryson talking about being woke, kundalini, graping, quest for Camelot, things like that. All important as words or symbols, and even the symbols that most celebrities or artists use, whether unknowingly so, they have meaning. We seen Camelot with Martin Lawrence, where he was king or knight. I forget which one it was, so long ago. But it had meaning. It still does. He talked about graping. According to scripture, we're supposed to eat of the fruits and the herbs. Grapes are one of those. Even though nowadays we have these non-organic, genetically modified organisms, because we're trying to keep up with a society that is constantly consuming. So I'm not going to say that I blame people for trying to find a shortcut or a way to fix a need, because that's what it appears to me, at least on the surface. Now, as it relates, I suppose, to demon love, I can remember the butterfly. The butterfly that I saw on I Am Legend. The same butterfly that brought us to homecoming and the coronavirus.
Right now, there's just so much happening in our world. So much at stake at the start of every morning.
One moment, please.
Making sense of it all, that's not always so easy. And that's where we come in.
Good morning, America.
Okay. I hate ads. Just like AIDS. It's like HIV. Oh, you got AIDS. No, it's called HIV. And if you're undetectable, that means it's untransmittable. So stop hating people or talking about people, especially their personal lives. What someone does in the privacy of their home and their bedroom is just that, it's private. So AIDS, it doesn't exist for someone that's on their medication and taking their medicine. It's like herpes and gonorrhea, syphilis, all this kind of stuff. Like, oh, we're trying to talk about whichever one. No, we're not. We can care less which one is worse. We don't want pain. We don't need pain. We need love. But back to the story. Our story. If only my story. When it comes to the butterfly, we can sit on I Am Legend when Will Smith was going on about trying to save the world, trying to fix things. The pain, which was we had these zombies taking over, this disease got out, and we're trying to cure everybody. Like coronavirus. With coronavirus, with a virus actually not being curable, we attempted to try to fix something that the universe was trying to regulate. So mankind has to get their hands off of it. And someone asked me, well, what about the plagues of Egypt? Have you seen The Prince of Egypt? Where he talks about the breath of life of mankind and things like that, where gods had to blow the breath of life into Adam so Adam would become a living being. That's why he said, from the dust you came, from the dust you shall return. No need to add more to that. According to the Prince of Egypt, although depicted as humans, it showed God taking the breath of life from humans. God never gave us the breath of life. We were born with it. It's innate for us. It even went as far as the Bird Box. While I was in New Orleans, I actually seen some things, and I won't recount them all, as I've seen a lot of things. And only God's know in the universe that I can see much more. The butterflies were symbolic of peace and harmony. While I was playing my grandmother's garden, the butterflies began to come out. Same color, yellow, right? Pikachu, right? But in all seriousness, Pikachu relates to the African goddess, or the Yoruba religion of Shango and Oshun. Well, as the story goes, Shango could never please Oshun. Almost like Beyonce. Like, what will it take for you to be happy? Because after all, you're asking, are we happy? So it must be placing you that you're not happy. Let's get there. Chango, or Shango, in the Spanish language, is actually called monkey. Chris Brown spoke vividly of this, even through art, if not only through art, about the bathing ape. What's wrong with taking a bath? After all, according to history, or her story, Moors taught the Europeans how to bathe and to cleanse themselves after being found or discovered in the Caucasus Mountains. Now, one would say they were already there, not pre-God and pre-gods rather, but for somewhere it was some kind of disconnect. But more or less, we taught them to be like us. Now, man was created in God's image according to their likeness. They were created male and female. And God told them, be fruitful and multiply, to subdue the earth and have dominion over it, and to eat of the fruits of the herbs. Have dominion over everything on the earth, and everything that creepeth on the earth. That was our job, according to Scripture, and our responsibility. Later on in Genesis 2, he explains, well, now I want to create mankind. So a mist fell upon the earth. After the mist fell, God formed mankind in his image. Or was it his likeness? I recommend you go read the scripture yourself and get your own understanding. However, I want to say it was his likeness, but he didn't create him in both his image and his likeness. So this can correlate to, or it does to me rather, at least I believe, to the disconnect between us and mankind. As if when mankind said they went to the moon and they said one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind, then it's just indicative of how this race is. We have the race of Europeans and we have the race of humans. Which one is always trying to be a giant leap ahead of the other? I'll leave you to draw your own conclusions. Until then, let's get back to the freedom of speech. Now, I did speak vividly, rather, about Tyler Perry, and him wearing dresses. A lot of people have their opinions about it. I honestly don't too much care one way or the other. To each their own. I just wanted to clear the air and make sure we all understand that it's not some kind of Masonic or some kind of demonic or satanic ritual. No, they're just somebody trying to depict a joke or intend to try to help us understand through a different light. Whether you have a male trying to extend or teach morals and values would be too much for society. I mean, seriously though, when it comes to church or traditional homes, we believe that the woman or the female, because woman comes from mankind, but woman was created. Like Beyonce said, I like to think that I was created. Cool, I understand. You're a woman, or you're the womb of man, or whatever. But are you the womb of man, or you're the womb of mankind? There's a difference. More or less. When it comes to the traditional home, we attempt to say each individual should have gender roles because we all believe in gender norms, allegedly. So the woman is supposed to cook, clean, have children, etc. And the man, or the male rather, to speak more clearly, would be to be the protector or provider, and be unemotionally available, to not be emotionally available. Pardon me, as I'm trying to make myself emotionally available for those who need me. Anyway, back to New Orleans. So I was born in New Orleans, Louisiana on February 25th. More namely in the year of 1990 on a Sunday. Now we all know, at least we should know by now, that the sun is supposed to have ultraviolet radiation, right? We learned that in school. Ultraviolet is very purple or ultra purple. That's why you see me with my purple light. Not because I want to be a part of some rainbow coalition attempting to eradicate the earth of humans or any gender or any group. No. It's directly related to my birth. So when you see me with my amethyst crystal on, even though they've changed the whole zodiac sign now, trying to eliminate our very existence and our very knowing and being and understanding, from what it seems, from what I've observed, I'm actually showing and am proud of my own humanness, my own blackness. And it really hurt my soul, if there is such a thing, to hear Chris Brown say that I hate being human. Almost like Janelle Monáe, wearing the all black and white as her camouflage, as she says, talking about dirty computers and the society needs for perfection. Like Beyonce. She said, and I quote, "Perfection is a disease of a nation." So yes, pretty does hurt. Because we're trying to perfect something that shouldn't be perfected. It shouldn't have imperfections. So then we have the United States and other countries, other nations, other places in the world that attempt to create laws. Well, laws are meant to create perfection. Because if we're already perfect, then how could we break a law? So the law literally says that we're not perfect. That's why they have to police us. Because every minute, every second, crime, somebody's doing something that they're not supposed to be doing. They're doing something that's not perfect. And because of so, we don't want to defund them. We refuse to defund them. Right? Pardon me. Again, I can't tell you how much I hate ads. Okay, back to the story. Laws came from the church or the Bible and the Vatican. And that's where our healing lies. Knowing who we are. Some people say, oh, well, they destroyed our history. But the Bible will always be the same. Oh, these words are always the same. God's words never change. Boom. Even in your own speech, you're speaking the healing. That's the beauty of words, of symbolism. Whether they say, oh, we're being demonic or we're doing all this and that, no, we're not. Because you see me with a red light doesn't mean I'm demonic. Again, red is anger, it's emotions, it's desires, but even love is an emotion. Purple is a combination of red and blue, the perfect combination. That's my birth. It was a perfect combination for me to come here and to establish my purpose and my reasons. Because reason is what we need now. As the late Whitney Houston, Lord rest her soul, once said, no one knows the whys. It would have been nice if you could have met me a whole lot sooner and a whole lot faster. But even society tries to filter us through its own lenses. But it's perfection in the imperfections. And I can't help but to smile and tell you that. Like Beyonce said again, I'm not going to say I hate bringing her name up, but some people do hate me bringing her name up. We smile for a whole nother reason. It's all smiles through all 4 seasons. All four. Rain, hail, sleet, snow, hurricane season, crawfish season, whatever season. We smiling. Not because we are amazing. Because individually, we all have something to bring to the table. That's beautiful. It's really beautiful. So for Tyler Perry, I'm not mad at you. You made money off the back of people who were trying to understand. You put on a dress to make your presence known and to teach something. Whether that's a moral, a value, through humor or hate. You did what you did. And even with the whole universal or creator, why not worship them? Why not worship ourselves? Because we deserve credit too. Day in and day out, whether we wake ourselves up or not, no one knows. Not even who. If I'm not going to tell you. But when it comes down to us putting our own effort, our own work, and our own deeds, we deserve our own pat on the back. We deserve our own flowers. Even if the presidents have refused to do so. Maybe that was our wake-up call. Some people look at the most minuteness things and attempt to give it a purpose. But the only purpose that it serves is a purpose for that individual. Every author, their own purpose. However divinely inspired. As we're all a part of God's body. And we're a part of God's body, then that makes us all interconnected. Now I can blow your mind with the Gabriels, the Raphaels, and all the other saints and angels' names that you want to hear. I refuse. Not because I hate scripture or I hate the Bible, but the only thing that God gave us was the ability to have power and authority. After all, that's what dominion means. So walk in your purpose and live a purposeful life. That's what's important. I would be reluctant to talk about mankind. As mankind, they always want attention. And luckily for them, fortunately, I'll have it. When it comes to mankind, mankind was Adam and Eve. They were created slaves. That's slavery. We want to talk about February and you were born in February and y'all are Negroes and y'all are less than people, y'all are property. This was post the Bible. So when you all went to, or allegedly went to the moon, you all were literally spitting, killing, destroying, lying, manipulating in order to preserve what? Your way of life? When it came to Adam and Eve had the power of life and death. They lost it. Adam refused to eat from the tree of life and live forever. Thus, they both were cursed. Eve to childbirth, and Adam to tilling the soil, the land, the children, supposed to war with the snakes, etc., and everything that creeping on the ground. That's not our burden to bear. It's yours. So when I say mankind, don't be afraid. That's who you are. According to scripture, mankind is not supposed to be sacrificing to Molech. They're not supposed to be enchanting, which means talking, acting, doing anything that is impressionable to us, or even to themselves. They're supposed to be fulfilling their God's given purpose. Now, I'm not encouraging slavery, but if you believe in the scripture, especially Judaism, because you're Catholic, then it's your decision to decide. It's your fate. I was on here today, and I actually saw a message from a classmate of mine that was talking about a woman, or a female. and how she was confined to just the traditional womanly roles, and she had to raise the children and things like that. Well, in reality, for what I explained, women shouldn't be upset that they're the only ones that don't get to commune with God, because they do. And even if they be in doing laundry or the nurturing aspect, like raising children and things like that, that's not the only way that God speaks to them. But it is worth it to mention that when we think and that idea comes from Adam and Eve, it doesn't come from mankind. Well, not mankind, it doesn't come from man. It came from mankind, but the idea actually didn't come from mankind, because it was somebody else that did it. Anyway, moving forward. I'm trying to correct myself while correcting myself. It can get confusing. That's why I'm trying to unauthor the confusion. Attempting to. The gist of the story was, though, that females want to commune with God and they felt left out, as if God wouldn't speak to them or wouldn't work with them. The idea that she was referencing, or at least the author was referencing, was in reference to God speaking only to Moses, and Moses going up on a mountain and being able to write down the laws and bring it to the people. Well, why couldn't a female do it? Now, mankind would have you believe, and I suppose that's where that sentiment came from, that, because she's a female, just like Eve, they're always making trouble. They're always forgetting something, like Eve, for example, forgetting that God didn't say eat or touch. He just said don't eat from it, right? And then we say, that's why the man's supposed to be the head and not the tail. Well, the man's supposed to be the head in that aspect, then Adam should have ate from the tree. Knowing that God could have easily created him another arm, Adam refused. And we wonder why we have the Muslim faith. See, this is why I believe in everything. I have to. So, for my listeners, what's worse? Having to believe in everything? Or always being a part of the know? Because just because we know something doesn't mean we understand it. But if we understand it, we have to know it. Tune in to my next podcast for that one. Until then, when it comes to women want to be like men or be a part of men, God gave females of man the same authority and rights that he gave the males. So if you can handle it, so be it. If you can't, know your place. No one's trying to control you. There's no glass ceiling that we're trying to stop you from breaking or getting to, as Hillary Clinton once said, or a lot of females say as well. As I'm the one that said we have the electoral college and we should get rid of electoral college. Why? Who would want someone voting behind them, or what sense does it make for someone to vote behind us when we're supposed to be relying on the popular vote in the first place? I understand the delegates and so on and so forth, but if that be the case, then just say that. Make it clear. Because now we have the older generations, or the older generations telling us to go vote. Vote for what? For someone to go tell me that they're going to go vote after I vote, to tell me that I ain't got to vote in the first place? So yeah, I get it. Doesn't matter what you think. Only matter what you wear. They don't want words, they want symbolism. But symbols are words, and words are symbols. Thus, the alphabet. So as I previously spoke, and I want you to actually experience this with me, is that I saw an apple. It looked like somebody had literally just bit the apple, right? And I mean, somebody, not something, somebody. And then it had like a worm in the apple with eyes. Now, if anybody knows me, they know that I was a very inquisitive child. I would go out, I would pull up worms, I would go grab frogs, crickets, all kind of stuff. I wanted to see what they were doing, why they were making the noises they were making, how they were making the noises they were making, all that kind of scientific stuff. I can hear my grandpa right now like, lawyer, leave that science alone. I have to. It's my burden to fulfill. My burden is in darkness, no matter how black I may appear. My burden is light. To bring light to a world that is used to darkness. To going over and over again, back and forth to work, to school, doing the same things over and over again. A continuous cycle of the dog race. Dog is no more than a backwards God. D-O-G-G-O-D. E-V-I-L-L-I-V-E. That doesn't make one woke. It just means you pay attention. Like I said, during funerals, and this goes back to the young lady I was talking about earlier, my classmate, the excerpt that she reposted actually was talking about how females' jobs were to go clean the body after the individual died, or wash the body before the funeral. That's not true. Or even to take care of the mentally ill or the people that are sick. That's not true. And if it is true, then why? There's no reason you should be able to tell me, or should tell me, that a female is supposed to do something like that, but a male cannot. I have love to give. So do all my male counterparts. No matter how broken they may be, they're still capable of it. They're still capable of nurturing. What if you're not here anymore? So you just had a child. You passed, God forbid. What is your boyfriend, your husband, your significant other supposed to do? Give the child up for adoption? Remarry? Some of you would say that I don't even want you to go get nobody else. I want you to just mourn over me and be by yourself. That's what the scriptures say. No, it is not. We keep thinking mankind instead of man. Then we go to Leviticus. Oh, well, Leviticus say that y'all was over there in Sodom and Gomorrah, and y'all was over there doing this and doing that. They were worshiping other gods. They had homosexuals, the angels. Well, in reality, the people were attempting to be with the angels. But before that, they were doing other stuff as well. Prostitution, drugs, all that kind of stuff. It had been here. However, that was just the last event. That was the tooth. That was the shoe, the idea, the last irritable act that just sent God over the edge. Now, I didn't let y'all do all this and all that. I done sent these angels out here to help y'all, and then all of a sudden, y'all want to sit here and mess stuff up. Y'all want to try to sit here and beat my dog and angel. I done told y'all already. Y'all done sent the flood and all that kind of stuff. Y'all just don't get it. Speaking of the flood, when God sent the flood, Moses was on there. You know, he sent the dove and things like that, and then he did a sacrifice, from what some scriptures say, of clean animals. And then God allowed mankind to start eating meat. That's what brings us back to the main subject, which was Allah, or arm, leg, arm, head. That's what this lady would, and I was speaking about in Georgia. And she started explaining me, maritime armorty law. I'm like, yeah, I watched the videos. I learned about it, that kind of thing. It just seems like a really, really big conspiracy. It's just really deep. But if you can go that far, then it's not deep. It's really, really plain. When it comes to the heart, I believe that's what that H stands for. That was the symbolism in that biblical story that Allah, or the Muslim God, attempts to show. And that we see the same golden rule in all books. And I don't believe that God, for whatever gods may be, the creator, the universe, what have you, divinely inspire these individuals like they're divinely inspiring us and me to be closed-minded. As to be woke would be to be open-minded, because you have to be. You have to be able to clearly and concisely disseminate information and be able to put it back together so that those that are around you not only try to make their own deductive reasons, but they understand that you're being direct. It's being indirect that causes the ambiguity, and it allows for interference. and we will have it no more. So let's take a dive into the heart. When it comes to the heart, and they do this in a death penalty as well, as when they surround a person with bags, and then they have these people come in. Some have bullets, one of them don't have bullets, and all kind of stuff, and they just all click and shoot, aiming at this heart, because a doctor comes in and put this cloth over the individual where they have a clear target of where the heart is, and then they execute them. How inhumane. But I suppose that's mankind's way of showing that killing people is wrong. How can you kill someone to show that killing someone is wrong? Make it make sense. I know. You can't. There's no way to make it make sense. You shouldn't have to make something make sense. It should make sense. It should click. The purple light bulb should come on, right? But we're getting there. Although we've made progress and strides, I'm here. No need to fear. The king's here. Yeah, seriously. But anyway, when it comes down to Allah, and Allah referencing to the Bible, they do have correlations, as the heart is actually meant to be the reason why Adam didn't eat from the tree of life. He simply just didn't have the heart. He didn't feel it. Some would say the mind or the head. I say the heart. He didn't have the heart. That's why, according to scripture, say you're supposed to have a heart after God. You're supposed to have a heart after Jesus. That kind of thing. That's what I believe that relates to. Thus we have the Muslim faith, where they believe in the whole pork thing. Oh, we have swine flu. We have porks that the pigs, porky just running off the cliff because they got possessed by all these demons and these spirits and stuff, and it sent them off the cliff. The swine. Oh, well, we don't eat swine because they're unclean. What about catfish? According to Leviticus says a lot, has very, very, very detailed language as it relates to a woman being on her mode or whatnot, or what have you, and how men are supposed to be outside the home. They're not supposed to be even in the same house or home as home as she is. And I was raised not to speak on the woman's clothes or what have you, but this is way bigger than that. This is about man. Right? And that should be enough. So when it comes to us actually judging each other, that's not something we should do. That's not something that Adam and Eve should do, or even the whole Abraham Lincolns of their generation should do. Because even Abraham Lincoln was supposed to be honest. You know, they say Abraham Lincoln, he had many sons. He had S-U-Ns or he had S-O-Ns. There's a difference. Right? We have 365 days of the year correlating to the 365 days of 368 months that's supposed to be in the Bible, from what's been explained to me. But a true circle is 360 degrees with 4 90-degree angles and hypotenuses and carrying on. It goes back to mathematics and alchemy and that kind of thing. So, Chris, I see you. B, I see you. J, I see you. Emily Chopper, Kentrell. All of you make sense. Even if you don't make sense in front of the cameras and the people that are constantly running around trying to take your pictures, trying to make you all seem to be some individuals that you are not, you make sense. If only to me. That's why you're loved. If only fake love. Because God know they have their cameras and I watched them, and they have their lights up pointed like when coronavirus happened. And Ruth Pete, Megan Thee Stallion. And this other guy, he had a mask on, and it just drew me and was indicative of the guy that had got killed. He had a mental illness and was headed from the store. He had a mask on and no one understood. Kind of like Michael Jackson, Philando Castile, Sandra Bland, Alton Sterling, Tamir Rice, Aaliyah, Kobe Bryant. I was actually sitting at my cousin's basketball game, and I called her the wrong name, but their names are so similar. They both start with the H's, and I'm like, well, I just, in the moment, I spoke the wrong name. And the two European ladies in the crowd looked back at me, and then next thing you know, the 3 police officers that was over at the door just left. All of a sudden, I get news, Kobe Bryant just died, and his daughter on a helicopter. I couldn't help but to feel like that was my fault. Someone tried to misinterpret me and what I meant. Kind of like George Bush Sr. and his wife. What in the world is this coming to? It has to come to the head. Because we've bottled up this enough. We've had this information long enough. And it's time to shine light on it. Like the ex-president Donald Trump, who allegedly stole all these documents and ran from here, there, or whatnot, getting all this classified information. But had President Obama done that when he was in office, they probably made me unleash the gates of hell. I probably would have enjoyed that, probably. I'm not gonna lie to you, I probably would have enjoyed that. And someone asked me, like, you gotta be crazy. Well, maybe a little bit. But my thing is, when it comes to us keep on praying on our lives, I mean P-R-E-Y-ing, on our lives and what we do, I believe it's unhealthy. And the cure would be for us to stop, right? Stop keep on diving into who we are and know and understand who we are. And that starts with ourselves and being happy with ourselves and who we are. No matter what people say, no matter what we go through, that's where it starts. And once we get there, we can stop trying to say, oh, this person means this person means that. We could just simply ask that person, what's your intent? I want to understand. I don't just want to know. I just want to understand. Some people are just meant to just know. They just need to know enough, and they just want to help. That's it. They just want to know, right? But yeah, they would have showed out. They would have showed out if then President Obama did something like that. I mean, I can recall them doing it in the newspaper. They were calling them monkeys and all kind of stuff. Again, and I can't say it enough. Freedom of speech? No, there's hate speech. And it's protected under the law. At least allegedly. Or does the law not apply to us? Because if it doesn't apply to us, then it's on. So stop trying to have your cookie and your cake too. You either want the darkness or you want it pitch black. I can give it both ways. So until next time, this is a message from the King's Desk. I'm Darius, the King. You are loved, and I want to reaffirm that you are important. And your life, it matters. If only to me. So for the celebrities, y'all have a good day. For the blue collar workers, y'all have a good day. The white collar, fighting law and crimes and criminals and all that kind of stuff, you all have a good day as well. Matter of fact, you have a great day. Because no longer will we use the Bible to fit somebody else's narrative. You're bigger, I'm bigger, and we're the biggest together.